Meeting back to order. And at this time, I'm going to move on to Dr. Rocco for the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. I have a couple of updates to remind our public about a few things happening and give you updates on other topics. First of all, we have early dismissal on Wednesday. Those are one session days, and to remind our public, all of our students will be dismissing at earlier than normal time. So the high school at 12:04, middle school at 12:45, and elementary school at 1:15. Our transportation and board offices will close as soon as the last bus has arrived back at the yard, and we've confirmed that all students have been dropped off. Schools and offices are closed on Thursday and Friday. A community update, which includes a presentation with audio and podcast, will be out tomorrow through our social media feeds and posted on our website. Our 67th annual Thanksgiving Day game between West and Steiner is Thursday starting at 10:30. The game will be at West this year, and there is no admission fee. The game is accepting donations for the Steve Gazdeck Memorial Scholarship Fund. Steve was a longtime educator, coach, and athletic director in Hamilton. Parents of children in grades K-3 received information on the literacy screening done across the state this fall. Please look for information and letters sent home. Additionally, in the update, we have information about this screening. We continue our dual enrollment programs in the high schools. We have a robust dual enrollment program with multiple higher education institutions. We continue to offer our students challenging programs that earn them college credit before leaving high school. Our fall sports program has ended and winter sports are now participating. I want to wish our winter athletes much success in the season. First marking period for middle school and high school students has ended. Parents, please check your children's grades on PowerSchool and talk to them about the importance of doing well in school. Again, this year, we will run the summer middle school program for students who'd failed 2 or more academic classes. I'm happy to say that between year 1 and year 2, less students were in the program because less students failed 2 or more subjects. Parents, stay in contact with your children's teachers. Even though the students are older in middle school and high school, they still need your support and encouragement in working through school work. And the trimester for elementary students ends on December 4th. Parents, please keep in contact with your children's teachers. This week, we're distributing to all families our visual titled Effectively Communicate with School Officials. This is a project my leadership team has been working diligently on over the last 3 months in developing a visual guide for effective communication with school officials. Parents and community members often ask who they should contact when they have a question or a concern. It's important to know that that most of the questions and concerns can be answered most effectively by the person with firsthand knowledge. As a result, we developed a visual for our school community that outlines 9 potential topics that HTSD families may have questions or concerns about during the school year. 2 examples of these topics include academic questions or transportation questions. The goal of the visual is to create an effective and efficient communication process for our HTSD community. You will see the visual in the community update. And all administration and faculty and staff have received this guide. And I know it's getting cold outside and winter is almost here, but we are thinking about summer and summer camp. I'm happy to report that we're currently accepting proposals from our staff for the summer camp 2026. Thus far, we have 67 camp submissions. Summer camp will be 4 sessions starting July 6th and ending on July 31st, and it will be held at Crockett Middle School. Parents, you can expect to see information about summer camp coming out in January with registration in February. Tonight, we will also have our annual assessment presentation. In a few minutes, I'll give some opening remarks about that presentation. And finally, I'd like to thank our faculty and staff from across the district for supporting the needs of families in our school community. It was wonderful to see how our schools and members of our district made sure families had supplies for Thanksgiving. With that, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you enjoy time with your family and friends. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Rocco. I'm going to move the agenda around a little bit, and I'm going to move to our student representatives this evening, and I'll start with Steiner, Edris Soto.
Hello, I'm Edras Soto, Steiner's School Board Representative. I wanted to start with Steiner's academics, which Steiner has hosted their academic award ceremony, which condemned Steiner seniors ceremony, commended Steiner seniors to have a 3.75 GPA or higher average throughout their 3 years prior years in high school. They will also receive a complimentary breakfast, which will be held this Wednesday during school hours. Moving on from that, Steiner is also in the midst of their Spirit Week with our Thanksgiving football game against Hamilton High West being on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. at West. So regardless of what team you root for, I know that Steiner and West students would appreciate having anyone who can make it and support either team. Now I also want to congratulate Steiner's varsity football and varsity girls soccer teams for winning their first round in their state tournaments. Both of these teams have worked awfully hard to get up to this point, but I wanted to specifically mention Steiner's football team because this month Steiner's running back, Isaac Pate, was given the honor to accept a Mammy Award. An award giving out annually since 1989, the Mammy honors the top high school football player in the Mercer County area among non-prep schools. Isaac Pate is only the third player from Steiner to win it. So I wanted to commend Isaac and Steiner football for their dedication and hard work to reach greatness. Also, I wanted to congratulate Steiner's National Honor Society for all the canned goods they collected for Steiner's Thanksgiving food drive. We're so proud that we can lend a helping hand to people in need and make sure that more families have at least one more thing to be grateful for. And that is my report.
Thank you very much. And now we will have Hamilton West, Diamond Tran.
Good evening, members of the Board of Education. My name is Diamond Tran, and I'm the student representative from Hamilton West. I'd like to start off by highlighting one of our recent activities last Wednesday, the student versus teacher basketball game, which was brought back by Mr. Washington after about 2 years of not returning to this event. It was an incredible kickoff to our spirit activities with a great turnout and tons of excitement from everyone involved. The teachers may have won this year, but we're already determined to come back stronger next year. Following that event, we went straight into a very successful Spirit Week. Student engagement has been high, and our themes brought so much fun and creativity to the school. One of our most memorable days was today, Culture Day, where students displayed flags representing many different countries, and one student even wore a stunning quinceañera dress. We also had a stuffed animal day, which filled the halls with a lot of smiles and nostalgia. We are now looking forward to wrapping things up with our pep rally on Wednesday, which we will expect will bring even more school spirit. This past Saturday, we hosted our annual craft fair, welcoming a wide variety of vendors and small businesses. Families from across Hamilton came to shop, support local creators, and assist our PTSA and Project Grad by purchasing merchandise. It was a wonderful way to bring our community together. I would also like to congratulate the Hamilton West Marching Band, who are in second place overall at their recent competition. Their hard work, discipline, and talent made for a fantastic performance, and we are very proud of everything they achieved this season. Looking forward, we're very excited to host our traditional Thanksgiving football game at home this Thursday against Steinert High School. We encourage everyone to bundle up and come support our players. Go West! Lastly, our block scheduling has been going very well. Student attendance has improved, and our academic performance is trending in a positive direction. Overall, it has been a very great month for Hamilton West, and we look forward to the events and opportunities to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And this evening for Nottingham, we have Prachi Patel.
Good evening, members. My name is Prachi Patel, and I'm Nottingham's representative. November has been a very fulfilling month. We have had many school accomplishments and many sports accomplishments throughout the month. Starting off, our cheer team participated in the CVC competition, showcasing their hard work and dedication throughout the season. They ended up taking home first place for their traditional routine and third place for their game day routine. In celebration of World Kindness Day, students dressed in green and pink and contributed to a bulletin board of affirmations. Each student has the opportunity to take an affirmation to keep promoting positivity throughout our school. Our school community also participated in the holiday market, where student volunteers helped with event activities demonstrating leadership and service. Additionally, some of our student athletes attended the CVC Sportsman Summit. where they focused on teamwork, respect, and leadership. The month concluded with our Fall Sports Awards Night, honoring the achievement and dedication of our student athletes across fall sports. This upcoming Wednesday, we have some of our fall athletes and marching unit participating in the Balloons Over Broadway parade held at University Heights. Overall, Nottingham has been a great month, highlighting both the accomplishments of our students and the strong sense of community within our school.
Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to ask the Board of Education to allow me to hold off on their comments so we can have our presentation. And then when we come back, we will have comments from the board. Okay? And for our student reps, you are more than welcome to stay, but being that it's a short week at school and I'm sure you guys have lots of work to do, it's also okay to go too. Okay? But you're always welcome to stay. And I believe that for any board members that want to see the presentation, not on the screen, just go to the outside.
So if you go on.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yep.
So while the board is being set back up because it got disconnected for a second, I just want to do a little introduction before Mr. Scotto and Ms. Audino talk about the data presentation here. I want to acknowledge our supervisors in the audience, so I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate your presence because we want to let the community know how much we take student achievement seriously in this district. So over the years, we have had data presentations in our district. And over the years, we have been apologetic about where we were on the NJSLA test. It's one test at one moment, at one time that is evaluating at that second. It's not the be all and end all, but we have been apologetic and we think we can do better. And everybody in this room who works on student achievement agrees that we should be doing better. And we're working to get better scores and better student achievement. But we are going to celebrate the hard work and be unapologetic for what our teachers, our non-certified staff, our principals, our supervisors, and our directors do every day to work on the skills that are needed to improve student learning. And throughout the year, we're monitoring progress. And for our NJSLA scores to get better, we have to work on certain foundational skills. And so what you're going to see in this presentation, and Ms. Audino and Mr. Scott are going to say this, so I apologize if I'm covering a piece that they're going to talk about. But what you're going to see in this presentation today is what NJSLA says, and then what we're doing also to build those foundational skills. And the growth that we're seeing there, that will eventually lead to the growth on the state test. So thank you for the time that you spent. Thank you for the time that all of you spent putting this together. And I'll turn this over to Mr. Scotto and Ms. Audino.
Thank you, Dr. Rocco. Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Rocco mentioned, Mrs. Audino and I will be presenting information this evening. We are proud of the growth that you will see throughout this evening's presentation. And we're also proud of the various initiatives that the board has allowed us to move forward with, that the building and district leadership have implemented. And I anticipate that you will step away from this presentation as pleased as we are. This evening, just to kind of give you an overview of where we'll be going, we'll be talking about strategic plans and strategic interventions we've put in place to enhance performance. We'll talk about the NJSLA, which stands for the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments in mathematics and English language arts, when our students sat for these assessments in the spring of 2025. We'll also talk about growth metrics, year over year, how the cohorts improved on the state assessment scores. Mrs. Odino?
We're going to look at our iReady scores, which is a diagnostic test. We're going to look at our MyPath, which is a math program that we're using in our middle schools. We're going to look at our district benchmarks, our intervention impact that we are in full implementation on in elementary school, and then the beginning of our expansion in middle school. Mr. Scotto?
We'll also talk about college readiness and the assessments that our students take, such as PSAT and advanced placement. And we'll also take a look at special populations, such as assessments for multi-language learners and a small percentage of special education students called dynamic learning maps. We wanted to take a moment and kind of give everyone in the audience, in the community, those watching online, our district snapshot. So our most recent enrollment is showing that we have 12,335 students. 17% of those students are students with disabilities. 5% of those students are students with a 504. 10% of those students are multi-language learners. As we look at the percent of free and reduced lunch, approximately 53% of the district is on free and reduced lunch or qualify for free and reduced lunch. And the demographics of our community are as follows: 34% Hispanic. One moment here. That's much better on the eyes. American Indian, Alaskan Native, less than 1%. Asian, 3%. Black or African American, 18%. Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander, less than 1%. White, 34%. And two or more races, 11%. This evening, Mrs. Audino and I, when you see the blue slides move through the presentation, we'll be taking time to highlight and share with you the strategic steps that we have taken as an admin team, as a school community, to drive and improve student performance. This is just a snapshot, and you will see these as we move through with the blue slides. So first, we'd like to talk to you a little bit about elementary performance. Of course, we will talk to you about focus on foundational growth in mathematics and English language arts, because these are our youngest learners. We often refer to them as the base of the tree. Many of you know that we implemented a new K-5 math program last year. We've had Jump Start to kindergarten. We just completed that at the end of the summer. And we've expanded trainings for our staff, particularly in the Orton-Gillingham approach. Mrs. Audino?
We have full implementation of our multi-tiered systems of support. So we are now full implementation in all 17 buildings in English language arts, math, and our SEL program. And our Haggerty assessments are full in kindergarten.
So let me first unpack the layout of this slide. As you take a look at the slide and you look at the left-hand side, you will see how Hamilton Township did against the state. The percents that you read and that you see on the chart represent the percent of students meeting or exceeding the state requirement, what we would call proficiency or higher. Whereas on the right-hand side of the slide, and we'll unpack this further, we also wanted to see, did that cohort improve from the prior year when they took the state assessment? And also, we work very hard to administer internal assessments that are aligned to the standards, that are not teacher created, but they are standard across all grade levels, in the same, assessing the same standards that our kids are assessed on the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments. So now that I've unpacked that slide and that format, as Mrs. Audino and I speak throughout the presentation, you'll get a sense of the layout. So again, if you take a look at the left-hand side, this is how our 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students did on the math assessment of the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments. Last year's fourth grade, we took a look at how they did the year prior. Those students had a 13% increase on their state assessments in the area of mathematics. And students, when they were in 4th to 5th, which was last year, had a 2% increase. We also administer, as I mentioned, the standards-based assessments called iReady. And what we like to see is the percent of students that move to on-grade level. In 3rd grade, 34% moved to on-grade level, which is 289 more students. In grade 4, 33% moved to on-grade level, which was 299 more students. And in grade 5, 25% of that cohort moved to on-grade level, which equates to 216 more students. Mrs. Odino will now speak to you about MTSS mathematics, target skill growth, grades 3 through 5.
So if you think about, Mr. Scotto just talked about our New Jersey test scores was really our standards that we look at. And then we look at our iReady scores, which is a diagnostic test. And then now we're going to talk about MTSS. We talk about MTSS, we think about a focused district-wide supports. We look at targeted specific skills and we look at what students are missing. So when we look at our targeted math skills, we looked at numbers and operations. We looked at all of our 17 elementary schools, and we really look at data-driven skills that our students have weaknesses in, and we look at that targeted skills. So we're really digging down to see what are those skills that our students really are struggling on, and we create an intervention, and we work on them. So if you think of it this way, first we diagnose, then we prescribe, and then we monitor. And that's how we decide what we're working on in our buildings, and then we write plans for specific grade levels, and each grade level in each building has a plan that we work on. It just so happens that all of our 17 elementary schools were working on numbers and operations, and this is where we are. So we're really excited about how much our students have grown this year. But remember, we're really digging deep into skill-based numbers, and that's how we have looked at each one of our buildings. So this is from September to June. And again, we're showing only here the grades that we're testing right now, 3rd through 5th. But like I said earlier, we are doing this K through 5 at the elementary level.
The next area that I'd like to talk to you about is grades 3 through 5 English language arts. So again, that format is the same. So if you direct your eyes to the left side of the screen, you will see how our students in grades 3, 4, and 5 did on the NJSLA in comparison to the state. If you move to the right side of the slide, that cohort, now those students are in 5th grade, but from when they were in 3rd to 4th, had a 13% increase in their state assessment performance. Students that were in 4th grade moving to 5th grade had a 3% increase on their state assessment performance. The iReady that we administer in mathematics is also administered in English language arts. Students in grade 3 had 26% move to on-grade level, which was 219 more students. Students in grade 4, 18% moved to on-grade level, meaning 162 more students. And students in grade 5, 17% of that cohort moved to on-grade level, resulting in 147 more students.
So for this, it looks a little bit different than our math because, like I said, we are looking at every building differently, and we're also looking at every grade level differently. So when we're looking at ELA, our students were functioning a little bit differently. So we always look at the progression of reading. So in the progression of reading, we always are starting out on the, phonemic awareness. Then we're looking at phonics. And as we work, down it, we look at high frequency words, vocab, comprehension through literature, then comprehension through informational text. And as we look at our scores of our students, some of our buildings were starting at phonics, And some of our buildings were starting at vocab. So that's why some in third grade have phonics and vocab. Actually, all of our buildings have phonics and vocab. So that's why you can see the variation of some of them started at phonics and then went to vocab. And that's why it's so exciting that our buildings are all moving in the right direction. And we want them to move through the vocab stage. And if you look, every year we're looking at we want about a 20% growth is what we're looking at over a year's time. And if you look, every building made that in the first part that they started with. So, we're really moving in the right direction in all the places that we're working, and we are really targeting the skills. So if we don't target these foundation skills that we're working on, we're not going to make the movement in the other places that we're looking at.
If I could create a picture in your mind of what Mrs. Odino just talked about, think about an inverted triangle, and the widest part of the triangle being the state assessment scores. And then the middle part of the triangle, us drilling down even further by using the iReady assessments. And then even more narrow within that triangle, now taking a look at a specific skill. So drilling down to specific skills with specific students in specific schools is how you then sort of strengthen the base of the tree. And then perhaps with all of the interventions we are putting in place, then strengthening also the performance on state assessments.
And I just should clarify that this is only tier 1 data that we're showing. I'm not showing any tier 2 or 3 data.
This is just a snapshot of some of the strategic instructional enhancements that are in action. You could see in one of our pictures here, a group of academic interventionists coming together for professional development. On the bottom picture, kids that are super excited about our First in Math program. At the top, a celebration that has taken place as a result of First in Math. And addressing phonics and helping students understand letters and sounds that they make so they can then decode words, comprehend what those words mean, and put them into sentences and to paragraphs. And again, if I had many slides, they would be filled with pictures, but we just wanted to kind of snapshot some of the things that are going on as to why we feel we are seeing this growth. So the next section we will talk to you about is middle school. So I'll have Mrs. Odino first speak about MTSS expansion.
So we did move into the middle school last year. We started with 6th grade ELA in the beginning of last year. So that's what we're going to represent in this slideshow. By January, we did start to move into ELA for 7th and 8th grade. But we don't have those numbers because we did not do a full year of that. But we're pretty excited of what we saw so far. And then moving forward, this year we are full for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade for ELA.
As Dr. Rocco mentioned in his opening presentation, we just completed our 2nd year of summer school, where students that did not pass courses were required to come in and receive academic intervention and remediation in the areas of mathematics and English language arts. We also built in social emotional learning and team building activities, and it resulted in a culminating project where students had to create a product, and they had to work together, and they had to apply critical thinking skills. We didn't want to just have a drill kind of summer school experience. We wanted to reteach, but we also wanted them to engage. We have spent a lot of time with our teachers to promote engagement, and we wanted to simulate that in the summer school program. Our MyPath math program, we have been using, but we officially launched it this year to assist with benchmarking and determining diagnostic levels, similar to iReady, and we've had great results. We've had faculty understand and see the value in taking a look at this data to also drive mathematics instruction. We also have restructured some of our ESL services. So some of our students may be receiving what would be considered a double dose of ESL services. We have some students that the ESL teacher serves as the ELA teacher. We have some cohorts of students that have a push-in model going on. So we've taken a close look at what our Ls need, our multi-language learners need, particularly at the secondary level, to help support them. This format is the same as what you've been seeing. On the left-hand side, you will see how students in grades 6, 7, and 8th grade did in mathematics in Hamilton Township compared to the state. On the right hand of the PowerPoint presentation, you will see, did the cohort grow on state assessments from the prior year? And the answer is yes. Students from 5th to 6th had a 3% increase. Students from 6th to 7 had a 4% increase. And students from grades 7 to 8 had a 3% increase. Now, I want to bring your attention to the bottom right of the slide. This is slightly different than iReady because this is year one of administering the MyPath diagnostics. And what we wanted to do is, as we often talk about, is think of this as blood work. And what is the blood work telling us? And what do we need to do? So think of this as baseline blood work. In this case, baseline information in mathematics. In the fall, we administered our diagnostics through the MyPath system. 42% of the current 6th grade were showing on grade level or above. 48% in 7th grade and 39% in 8th. You will see that I have the next slide because, as Mrs. Audino mentioned, we are in the process of expanding out the multi-tiered systems of support. So the data that we are reporting today will go up to and including grade 6. English language arts, grade 6, grade 7, and grade 8. This represents the percent of students meeting or exceeding in Hamilton Township against the state. On the right-hand side, you can see that the students that went from 6th grade to 7th grade that were tested last year had a 5% increase. In 7th to 8th, had a 6% increase. We still administer iReady in middle school. So what we did in this situation was the same as what you saw in the elementary slides. We saw an 8% growth of movement to on grade level or higher in grade 6. That's 73 students. 8% moving to on grade level in 7th grade. That's 69 more students. And 12% moving to on grade level in 8th grade. That's 111 more students. Mrs. Audino will talk to you now a little bit about MTSS ELA, skill growth in 6th grade.
So if we look at this, it is, again, we did make that 20% growth that we had talked about over time for our 6th graders. And again, we started at 31% and we went to the 44. And this is for all 3 of our buildings together for 6th grade. So it's not just one of the buildings. And they all did work on vocabulary. So again, we talk about that trend that we talked about when we looked at the elementary level. And again, we did see that trend of vocab. So it is something that we really did target it down into. So if you really think of a big fishing net and how fishing nets are made into those small little knots, MTSS is really one of those little knots. So we take each little knot and break it up into one little spot for each one of our buildings and each one of the grade levels. And we pick one of those knots to work on. And once we get to 80%, then we really change the skill that we're working on so that we can continue to move forward for our students to achieve into a different targeted area. Mr. Scotto will now talk about 6-8, or we'll show you some pictures on 6-8 strategic instructional enhancements in action.
So a few years ago, we really transitioned how we wanted to teach science, and we didn't want to just have content science with a textbook. We wanted to have more experiential in science. So our science in action program, you can see sort of highlighted there on the left-hand side, known as Open SciEd. In the middle, this is also reflective of different engagement strategies that we've done with our students in terms of use of graphic organizers to understand vocabulary. On the right-hand side, on the right bottom, our beautiful libraries are not just facilities that have been upgraded. They are environments to promote learning. They are environments where students want to come, want to study, want to engage with their teacher. And you may be wondering what's going on the bottom. Are the kids writing on the wall? Is this something that should not be happening? Well, this is just an example of our building thinking classroom where we have students up and out of their seats, engaged, and writing their math problems in a cooperative setting around the room. And this has been a true indicator of a strategy that helps to engage kids to help strengthen performance. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about high school now. I will highlight some of our college readiness and advanced proficiency. Block scheduling, and I really want to thank our students, but they just left. Hopefully they're home doing their homework or studying. For 2 months in a row, our students have come to the board meeting and talked about how the block schedule has been a plus, how the block schedule has been something that they enjoy, that how the block schedule is an opportunity for them to breathe a little bit in the classroom, further engage with their teacher. We heard from one of our student reps this evening. They feel that's even positively impacting attendance. Common exams is another area that we will be implementing this year. And you may be wondering, well, how does that impact performance? Well, it actually helps to further secure the curricular adequacy and consistency and rollout of our curricular programs across all 3 high schools. Our Alex Math program, which has really taken on with such excitement, where we can individualize, we can strengthen in the general education and the special education classroom, the opportunity for students to build confidence, fluency, automaticity, and where they need to focus at their level. Dual enrollment has been an outstanding opportunity for our students to help with college readiness and advanced proficiency. For our 2nd year in a row, we have moved forward with a dual enrollment partnership with the College of New Jersey, with Fairleigh Dickinson University, with Mercer County Community College, with Thomas Edison State University, with Kane College, and also with William Patterson. This has been another way to remind people that our kids are graduating and are ready, that our kids are graduating and they are successful when they leave the doors of our high schools. And last but not least, our advanced placement potential assemblies. I first thank the board for continuing to allow us to fund AP exams for all students. We've taken all of our kids and brought them together multiple times each year to say, are you ready for a challenge? Do you think you want to push yourself a little bit? Do you think you can handle it? And we have had a tremendous amount of involvement, and you will see that in the numbers shortly. High school mathematics. Now, in many school districts across the state, students as early as grade 7 can take Algebra 1. So when you look at the slide on the left-hand side, those will be the course names. But when you look at the slide on the right-hand side, it will be just 9th grade. So in Algebra 1, in geometry, and in Algebra 2, this is how we did as a district against the state. In English Language Arts, 9th grade, this is how Hamilton Township did against the state. PSAT is another college readiness opportunity for our students. If you've taken the SAT before, you may have wondered when you were going into that assessment environment, I wonder what the test is like. I wonder how this may be different than perhaps the assessments that my teachers give or the internal assessments that the district gives. Our PSAT allows all students to sort of have that universal opportunity starting in grade 9, moving into grade 10, and grade 11. You can see the average score in the center of the left-hand chart, and you can see that our current 10th grade significantly improved from the prior year. 9th grade would not have data to compare because it's their first year taking it. We also use this for AP Potential, National Merit Scholar, as well as giving kids the opportunity to see where they are in critical reading and critical math prior to graduating. Advanced placement. Last year, we administered 1,207 AP exams. A score of 3 or higher is what the College Board looks for, and colleges and universities will consider when determining credit. We had our highest percent ever this past spring when 53% of those exams resulted in a high score, a score higher of 3 or higher. We've had 13% growth over the last 2 years. In New Jersey, students that are receiving ESL services, English as a second language, are also required to sit for what's called the access testing. So if you recall at the beginning of the presentation, I pointed out that close to 10%, if not 10% of our students are receiving those services. Last year, we administered 1,179 tests. Prior year, to the last year, you can see that there was an increase at every single grade level. Some increases may be higher than others, and those factors could be student has been with us longer. If it's lower, it could be student just moved into the district, just moved into the country, just moved into the area. But we were happy to see that all of our students showed a % increase or higher from the prior year. Mrs. Odino will now talk to you about DLM.
So DLM, which is Dynamic Learning Maps, is a specialized test that a very, very small percentage of our special ed students take. It's an alternative assessment that is for students that have a significant disability. So as you can see in 23-24, 121 of our students tested, and then last year only 120 of our students used this test. When it says at target, that means prior to the 23-24, our students were already at target. We grew 10%, and then last year over target, another 19% grew. So we were already at target. So these are the growth above target that we're showing. So our math really grew last year, a 33% over where we were in the advanced target areas. And then math, we grew another 25%, or ELA, I'm sorry, we grew another 25%. So our students are doing fairly well. But again, this is really a very, very small population of our students. Some more pictures to share.
So I hope the screen doesn't give out on this one, because this is probably one of my favorite slides. You know, if you're not familiar.
What did you say?
And the slide just gave out. Okay. Well, as teachers, we can monitor and adjust on the fly, right? So one of the pictures that is in the slideshow, I think is such a great example of our teachers don't have about 38 and a half minutes anymore to teach in the high school. Because if you've ever been in a classroom before or been a classroom teacher, a 40-minute period is never really a 40-minute period, because kids need time to travel. Kids need time to get into the classroom. Teachers need time to get them settled. And before you know it, the lesson is almost over and they're walking out the door. The block schedule has actually allowed us to have greater seat time within that period. And so some of these activities, oh, they're back on the screen, are things that teachers have always wanted to do, but within the block they can do. So whether it be going outside and using chalk to demonstrate something that they're learning in psychology, or of course, I'm a little hungry when I look at this picture, but this was something that was done in AP biology. Also, we continue to make sure that all students have the opportunities to have college and career readiness. Just an example of a college fair that we have in our high schools, where kids can speak with representatives about post-school planning. Elementary teachers get very excited about competition. Middle school teachers get excited about competition. But when you have a picture of high school math teachers that have decided they're going to have some healthy competition in their math classes with the ALEX program, like you can see on the top right, where they have set up charts, they set up some races, they've set up some incentives, it gets people excited. Those are ways that growth happens. Those are ways that kids begin to improve. When you saw those kids writing on the wall, they weren't writing on the wall. They were writing on dry erase boards. And that was an example of teachers voluntarily wanting to participate in the building thinking classroom. That's the copy of the book that you see on the bottom left. Our faculty not only participate in the PD that we set up for them, but they will also ask to participate in things in a voluntary way. This is just one example of this became so contagious in an instructional way that teachers wanted to do it. And kids are enjoying being engaged. In the middle, you see students kind of sitting at a conference room table, wondering what's going on there. That happens during the activity period now at the blocks, during the block schedule, where kids may have not had time in the past to sit, to discuss, to fill out applications, or have a conversation with the school counselor. Hands-on opportunities in the bottom right can increase during the block schedule, where kids can not only learn the content, but begin to own the content. And that is just a little bit of a snapshot that Mrs. Audino and I wanted to share with all of you. So, Dr. Rocco told you we want to create a story. We want to create a narrative of what we're doing and how we're doing, right? So take a look at these pictures and follow me across the slide, right? MTSS expansion, where we are personalizing student support and giving them what they need. Adopting new curriculum, implementing new curriculum, training teachers in new curriculum and having better materials. providing tutoring, whether it be through an outside consultant or on a one-on-one or before or after school or during an activity period. And the professional learning are just 4 examples of the drivers of academic growth and future success that we are very pleased with. Our theme is building minds and building futures. We continue to do that. We are proud of the growth that we've shown. We know that we will continue to shine and grow in this area. And we really want to just thank not only the people that are here this evening, but all of the people that make this happen. The Board of Education, senior leadership, building leadership, supervisors, parents, students, and the entire educational community. Thank you very much.
That our board members. It's like the point.
So I would like to, again, thank you, Mr. Scotto. Ms. Audino, thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you to all of our supervisors, our staff, and our administration. This is a team effort. So thank you, everyone. I am going to open it up to the board for any questions or comments, and I will start with Mr. Kanka.
First, I would like to thank the Ms. Aldino, Mr. Scotto for an excellent presentation and all the support staff it took to put this project together. At this time, I don't have anything to ask the staff, but I will be excited to see what happens next year when we move into another year of student achievement and see how we do, since we just really started this presentation for, I want to see how the 3rd graders do next year in 4th grade and so on and so forth. So.
Thank you, Mr. Kanka. Ms. Williams?
I too want to thank you all for putting this together, for sharing it with us. For one, I'm a huge advocate for, I loved seeing the pictures of the students actually hands-on, because honestly, I think I probably would have been a better student had I had that back in the day, right? So I think that does encourage them to kind of like make mistakes, but in an environment where they feel, supported, right? So I love seeing that. I also want to say that I'm happy with the fact that we're seeing growth, right? I know that there's a lot of people that might say our test scores, they look at it, but I also know that is a snapshot in time. It's not what makes the student overall. When they move on, they can still be successful regardless of test scores. I am proof of that too. So my point in saying that is that we're showing improvement year over year. I too, like Mr. Kanka, would like to see next year to follow that. And I really think, given a lot of the information that you guys provided too, the demographics of our school district, it also opens up, like seeing like where there may be challenges and why maybe some of our test scores, right? And again, it's okay as long as we're showing growth, in my opinion. So I thank you guys for putting that together, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Ms. Harvey?
Thank you. I also want to thank the administration for putting this together and for all the hard work. I know that I was concerned about looking at the numbers from a growth perspective, so I appreciate the way that it's been formatted so we can see that. Thank you.
Stanton?
Thank you to Mr. Scotto, Ms. Aldino, all of our interventionists and data staff, everyone that's helped with this. I'm thrilled to see the improvements that we've made with MTSS. I feel like although we still have, room to grow, that our scores overall for the state have grown in a realistic time and manner at this point. And I'm really excited to see also the improvements that have come with our block scheduling, the opportunities for our students to really work hands-on, like Mrs. Williams said, our teachers to have a little bit more time to work and be in depth with the students. So it seems like everything that the people in all 24 buildings are doing is paying off. So thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Stanton. Dr. Ferrara?
I too want to thank Mr. Scotto and Ms. Audino and everybody who was in our committee meeting, because Ms. Stanton and I were kind of the two people who are educators on the board, who have, degrees in education. And we were kind of tough on them that night. We asked a lot of questions. We asked a lot of, can't we look at it this way? What does this mean? How many kids are we talking about? And I really appreciate that you listened to us. And the presentation was great. And I too love seeing the pictures of kids like actively engaged. And I knew that block scheduling was going to be a hit, because you know how many times I talked from my seat about just having the ability to teach in a block schedule is so much fun. So I do want to shout out to Grice since we're here, because they really did, and you can help me, Mr. Scotto, they really kind of did a great job in geometry and algebra. Were those the two?
Geometry, yes.
Yeah. And so, and you know what? Dr. Rocco and I were at the Gladiator Cafe on Friday, and when he pulled out his phone, one of the students, and Mr. Scales was with us too, he pulled out his phone and Daniela came up and went, "No cell." And that everybody had. So I think that's kind of our next path to talk about is, I think Royce has done a great job with controlling cell phones. And I think the research is showing and the studies are showing that cell phones are great, but we need to get kids refocused on other kinds of skills. And I'm thrilled with the presentation. It was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar. Ms. Soto?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Scotto, Ms. Aldino, and support staff for all your hard work on this presentation. I know I've mentioned it to a lot of my colleagues around the table. How my daughter graduated last year, and she keeps hearing from her friends that are still in the district about all these amazing changes that are happening and why it couldn't happen when I was there, and it's not fair. And I'm like, progress is great, even if it didn't happen in your time. But now I'm looking at these pictures of the kids. And, just to piggyback off of what Ms. Stanton had said about block scheduling, allowing for students to really have that time to converse and discuss material and talk with faculty and administrators differently. I'm sitting here as a parent, like, why wasn't that in place for my kid? Because she would have benefited so much from that. So I love seeing constant evaluation and improvement on things that we can do and offer our students in the district. I know I was a little bit of an MTSS hater in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie, because it's one of those, you got to give it a chance for it to work. It takes time. So the results aren't there immediately. So I'm really happy to see, the positive results, and I look forward to seeing them just continue next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soto. Dr. McShee.
Yeah, just of course want to echo what I've heard from the rest of the board. Really appreciate the work you did. I know our committee meeting was also full of questions and ideas, and you probably came back with 30 things you could have added to the presentation. But you made it what it was, and I think it was really helpful for us to hear as a group. I do have a few questions, and hopefully they're something we can chat about. So, Ms. Aldino, you did mention that, I believe this is in your elementary piece. Yeah, that would make sense. That you're aiming for 20% growth. Is there some kind of rationale behind the 20% in particular, or is that just kind of a what you aim for in general?
We aim for that because that really shows that they're being successful in the skill and they've mastered it.
And then for, yes, for when you were going over the MTSS, you mentioned that there was only the tier 1 data being shown. I was wondering what the tier 2 and 3 data might look like, or what's different about it, or just something that we can kind of have in our mind.
So I believe that we're going to do another presentation on just MTSS with all the data later in the year. I think closer to the end of the year when we have all the data. I mean, I have last year's data we can share. And I think at the end of last year, I did that too with all of it. As just for this one, I think because we were comparing it with all the test scores, we were just going to show tier 1 because that's really encompasses everyone tests in tier 1, all of our students. So we wanted to show where everyone fell into initially when they tested.
That makes sense if everyone tests.
Yep. So we test all of our students in tier 1. So they do fall into the initial testing that we do. So that's where the growth would initially show. And then that's how they fall into tier 2 and tier 3.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. There wasn't really a part that I found really interesting was there were almost kind of a mismatch or a difference between the math scores presented, was it at the high school level, when it was broken down by like geometry and algebra. But of course, the NJSLA had it as a grade level. I was just wondering, you know, what the differences were that would cause kind of the breakdown. Because it looked like the students who were in geometry were doing very well on the proficiency. Now, is it because at a certain level, those are the students who are taking the class and they are expected to do better in that subject versus ones who are not in that class? Or
So I think what you're referring to is why did one side say course and why did the other side say grade? So I'll answer that first. High school content can be taught in a middle school setting in mathematics. So we think of the multiple lanes on a highway kind of feeding into 3 lanes. So we could have students that are coming in as early as 7th grade taking Algebra 1, or 8th grade taking Algebra 1, or our largest number of students, which would be our 9th graders taking Algebra 1. So all 3 grade levels would have to take the high school content exam. In 9th grade, where you see ELA, that is just a 9th grade English language arts test. So New Jersey, of course, always does things in a very unique way, right? So we have 8th grade ELA, 7th grade, 6th grade, and we also have 9th grade. And then it stops, whereas high school content can run concurrently. So you could be a student in 6th grade mathematics. I could be a student in 7th grade mathematics. Mr. Kanka could be a student in 8th grade mathematics. Or you may be in pre-algebra. Your colleague to your right may be in algebra, and your colleague over to the right twice could be in geometry. So we have different lanes intersecting at the same time. We are required to take how those students do in middle school and high school and report them in a summative way against the state. Geometry and algebra, we tend to be higher in geometry and algebra too. But this year, we were actually over the state average, which was great. That was why we got the phone call about Grace doing so well on high school content in a middle school setting. We've also made a lot of changes in high school content. We have more subject matter specialized teachers teaching high school mathematics in a middle school setting. Our middle school students use the same high school curriculum as our high school students do. We use the same textbook. So I think that that has also strengthened after Algebra 1 while our kids continue to do well.
that's great. Thank you so much. I have one last question. Okay, so the math scores that we saw for the elementary level, Ms. Aldino, I think you or Mr. Scotto, one of you kind of recognized that each of the buildings were focusing on a certain domain of math.
Number sense and operations.
Yeah, okay, great. Now, do we see that the buildings would continue, or do you predict that the buildings would continue to kind of focus on that, or are they going to move on and then maybe next year we talk about a different subject?
So we use iReady for that. So we look at the 4 domains of math. So it happens that once we look at our iReady scores, we look at the 4 domains, and numbers and operations is where we targeted, because that's where the weaknesses were or the deficits were. But then if our deficits happen to be in algebra or measurement and data or geometry, that's what we'll focus on. But kind of numbers and operations were really the foundation skills that we were missing. So that's where we start. We really look at the foundational skills that we need to work on first, and that we build from there.
That would also be, Dr. McSheen, a skill that students need as they move through their academic career in mathematics.
Of course.
And so sort of those seeds of
The 4.
important baseline information is going to move with them into grades 4 and 5 with multiplication and division, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division of fractions, moving into middle school, ratios, proportions, decimals. So it's such a key skill that helps with then those later on gateway skills that they need for middle school and high school.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And I think it seems to me that it would be a healthy sign to see that the domain of interest or necessity would kind of vary across the schools over time. That would hopefully show that there's, we're building progress in this field and being able to kind of get further down.
But remember, we started with ELA, so we're seeing more change in ELA because we started that first. For MTSS, math, we added on second in the elementary schools. So we're just at full expansion totally at the elementary schools last year. This is our second year for math.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll start to see that, but our 3rd grade, I think, is our getting to like full implementation. So we really do want to see the growth, but we're still really at some foundational skills.
I just want
If
to
we
add
don't
one more thing.
Teach those, then we're never gonna
Sure.
make the progress.
I want to add one more thing to the math. If you recall the slide that had the iReady growth, when we were calculating that growth, that was amazing growth in mathematics. And we feel that the new math program, the building-based and district-based PD, the teacher leaders within, giving support also to our administrators in the new math program, is showing the result. And so growth in iReady is, we're used to growth in iReady, but to see 33%, 34%, 29%, that's significant. And to me, that's the program also doing what it's doing. And I want to thank the teachers, because the teachers implemented a new math program last year. And if you are a classroom teacher, year 1 of any program, and many of you are going to finish the sentence I always say, is like looking for the light switches, right? And our faculty embraced it. Our faculty knew that it was a more rigorous program, but our faculty embraced it, and they like the program. They say it's not easy. They say it's challenging. It has a lot of word problems in it. The kids have to think critically, and we're like, that's why we picked it. But our faculty are working with it. Our resources that we give to families where they can play videos and have the math retaught or in another language, or break it down into an area where they would understand it in a more concrete way, is just another example. And so when we ran the iReady growth, we were super psyched, but I have to tell you, the math was like, wow, that's really great.
Mrs. Thornton, I have a question. So to both of you, I, as Dr. McSheen was talking, I was thinking about the Title I meeting at Wilson I was at, where the teacher said, we have all these kids coming into school with no number sense because they don't play hopscotch, they don't play board games. What I'm wondering is, do we have any idea, like, what percentage of our kids go to preschool? What percentage of our kids don't get preschool? And if that plays, if that's a factor or a variable in what we're looking at. Because if kids aren't coming in with a number sense, we have to catch them up before we can teach them what they need to know, right?
Any schooling we can provide for our students before kindergarten is key. It's concrete. It's important. In all of my years in education, giving kids the opportunity to begin to learn a little earlier on, developmentally appropriate, of course, is key. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I would say a guesstimate could be 1/3 of incoming kindergarten students attended pre-K. Another third may, and again, these are guesstimates, could have attended some type of a daycare preschool program. And then 1/3 may have not attended at all. And so, the kindergarten teachers are having students come in that are at different levels. And so this is where small group is important. This is where tiered interventions are important. This is where all hands on deck and small group instruction is super important. As I've studied the preschool learning standards, they're called expectations over the last many, many years. Math is built into that. Literacy is built into that, but also centers, dramatic play, socialization. And those are all things that we tried to somewhat simulate in our Jumpstart to Kindergarten program, but that was only 4 days. But I can tell you, as we've walked into buildings and we have asked teachers and principals, how's kindergarten this year? And we're getting responses much better. Kids came in understanding routines. I think about how powerful that would be if we could do that more than 4 days in the summer. So I hope that answers your question to at least give you a little insight.
Dr. Farrar, I'd also remind the board and the community that we not only did the Jumpstart to K, but we revamped the kindergarten schedule and the timing and what we were doing with students from the beginning of the year, built by our kindergarten teachers with the help of our supervisors and our directors because of what we weren't seeing. And also, as I remind the board and the community, why we were pushing for a preschool and why we will continue to push for a preschool in this district so that we can get our youngest children educated here so they are ready to go into kindergarten and first grade and second grade. Because the guesstimate that Mr. Scotto gives of 1/3, I bet it's higher than that don't attend preschool in our town, which is, as they've said, a building block that we need.
Ms. Thornton,
Any other questions?
Just a last comment, just really quickly. I wanted to thank you both and the rest of the team for explaining the dynamic learning maps and just acknowledging that, not every student's able to take a certain type of assessment, but really still working to follow data on the students who don't have that ability necessarily, but are still students of ours that we need to help along the way. So really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Machine. I believe, Mrs. Williams, did you have another question?
So I just have one question. Is there anything that we can do together as a district to help those students who are multi-language learners, or, like as far as testing with translation, help like that, especially at a younger age where they're just coming in and maybe not, is that something that maybe is hurting them in their test scores? Is there something we can do together to try to help that?
I think the first thing that comes to mind, and this is the teacher and me saying this and the parent, is first to celebrate the diversity of our students. That's the first thing that must happen. And then and continue to happen. The second thing is recognizing where they are and where they can go. And so if you've ever worked with a multi-language learner student, they're sponges. They want to learn. And we continue. So I would say, as a board, continue to support us as we come to you with things that we need. As a community, to celebrate the diversity and recognize that every student in this district needs to learn, deserves to learn. It's someone's child. It's someone's grandchild. It's someone's neighbor. To support families and to say, hey, did you know that in Hamilton Township, I think about when Mrs. Griffith and I ran a presentation for families last year, just for multi-language learners. They were so appreciative. They were so proud. They were so thankful. And so I would just say to continue. Thank you for letting me share my passion on that too.
Thank you. And thank you again. So I think it's very important throughout this presentation, we really did see and to recognize that there are multiple ways to assess our students. And we kept hearing growth, and growth is the key because we build on that. And again, I want to thank you all very much. I'm looking forward to seeing the continued growth in our students. And as we work with that data, to provide more programs or resources for them so that they can continue to have that growth. And I thank everyone very much. And if there's no other questions from the board, Okay, so thank you again.
Mrs. Thornton, we will make sure that this is placed on the district website for the public to see as well.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Okay, so as I had said before, we're going to move back to the Board of Education. I thank you all for allowing us to move around the agenda so that we could have the presentation. And Dr. McSheen, I'm going to start with you. Any board comments?
No comments right now. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ms. Soto?
I just want to wish everyone, so don't forget to do it later, happy Thanksgiving, and look forward to going to the football game on Thursday.
Dr. Ferrara?
Once again, this community has come forward with turkeys from everywhere. And it's so comforting to know that all you have to do is say, hey, could you help? And somebody's right there. I got an email. Hey, I've got a turkey. Where can it go? Mercer Street Friends helped out in the local communities. Someone gave Klockner Elementary School 100 turkeys. Yeah. And I may, a couple people reached out to me and said, all we need is 3 more. So, you know, it's very heartening, and it's just very great to see. And I'm very thankful for everybody who stepped up. De Paula Turkey Farm, again, 5 turkeys to every single school in this district every single year. And I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Ferrara. Ms. Stanton?
On top of all of these turkeys and the great Thanksgiving donations that have been made, I also just want to thank the community as a whole, all the organizations in the area, our schools, just all of Hamilton's residents, for really coming together to make sure that our community was fed through the shutdown of the government, because I really got to see the good in everyone. We all really got together to help those that needed it. And that was really great to see. I also just wanted to thank everyone a happy and healthy holiday, and enjoy this long weekend. And hopefully it's not too cold for us.
Thank you, Ms. Stanton. Ms. Harvey?
Oh, no, none of that.
I also would like to wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. I just have a few updates. I attended the Crockett Annual School Plan meeting on November 18th. There were 3 goals that were discussed. First, academics, and we roundtabled. It was a dynamic discussion. It wasn't just a presentation. So all of the stakeholders had discussed ideas for improving academics, including ideas to have student mentorship, expansion of tutoring, and how to maximize the use of the block scheduling in order to improve academics. There was also discussion about improving attendance, and already 2 months into the school year, there was already an improvement from the plan that had been put in place. There was also talk about creating a mentorship program where older students from the high schools could go and talk to the younger students about the benefits of being active in school. So not just attending school, but what does the school offer, such as clubs and sports. Then there was a talk about discipline, and there was targeted improvement to reduce incidents. The numbers show, if you look at your board reports, that the plan is in fact working, that there's been a reduction in the amount of discipline based upon the approach that has been gone so far from Mr. Finaccio, who took over the school year last year. So we have 1 full year now. Next, I also attended the Gladiator Cafe, so it was nice to see a few friendly faces there. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to, again, going back to Crockett, where they've invited all of the board members to help make sandwiches for task. Their student government is making 1,000 lunches. They relied upon donations from the school, and they actually had a competition among the different homerooms in order to see who could bring in the most amount of donations to create the box lunches. And then tomorrow we will assemble them, followed by an environmental tree planting ceremony where the Hamilton Township Shade Commission, which is actually on your agenda, donated a tree for the new garden that we actually approved 2 meetings ago. And I'm also looking forward to attending the annual MD program Thanksgiving event tomorrow at Hamilton West. I know I normally run into a few board members there. It's always a fun time. And then I'd also like to share with the community a new fundraiser. A lot of schools do the dine outs. Well, the 3 middle school PTAs have gotten together and are doing a joint dine out, which is a battle of the middle schools. So go to Habit Burger on December 5th from 12 to 5 or 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. and let them know which middle school you're supporting. And a portion of the proceeds will go back to the PTA. And I believe the winner of the competition will get 20% of the profits. And then the other 2 will only get 15%. So maybe go through the loop and get 3 orders. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Ms. Williams?
I just have a couple of quick announcements, is just really to remind everybody to, check your child's power school, reach out and, be engaged with their education. Also, I know that on our, the Hamilton Township School District website, if anybody is in need, I know that they have information there for food banks. I know that it's a really tough time of year for everybody. And I also wanted to remind everybody of the Hamilton Township School District notifications app. That is out there. If you don't have it, this way you can download it on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or not, any type. I'm sorry, what is the Android? I'm sorry. You know that I'm an iPhone user if I forgot it was an Android. And then donors choose. If there's also, there's 3 right now. There's 3 schools in our district. I think it's Wilson, Greenwood, and Nottingham that are all looking for help funding projects. So if you can, please just take a look at Donors Choose, go on there. And I know that those teachers would definitely help. They would definitely appreciate anybody's help in the community and beyond, because you can do Donors Choose even out of state. People can just donate. So if you have a grandparent, aunt, uncle in another state, all the help is much greatly appreciated. So, and just to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, safe, healthy with your family. So, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mr. Kanka?
I just want to have everybody enjoy themselves this week. I know how everybody has very, very, very busy schedules. We're all running left and right, up and down, back and forth. And just sit down with your family and have just a real nice time for the next couple of days. Slow down a little bit. Most people don't have to work on Thursday, so just enjoy the time with your family, because I know I will. And I'm looking forward to hopefully getting over to see that football game. But it's going to be tough since I do all the cooking. But I'm going to try to get over there, because my grandson goes to Steiner and he wants to go over and see the game. And, we had our discussion, since I'm a West alumni. So we're going back and forth with that in the next couple of days. So as a West alumni, I know who I'm voting for or rooting for, but I hope, as a board member, that's the game that ends up a tie and everybody wins. So.
Thank you, Mr. Kanka. So I'm going to move on to board committees, and I will start with Ms. Soto. Personnel?
Well, it's going to be a quick report for me, because our agenda was pretty light. I, along with Dr. McSheen and Mrs. Williams, met with Dr. Rocco and members of the senior staff on November 12th. And we really, as we do in most meetings, we take a look at, how we're doing with vacancies and open positions. And, it sort of ebbs and flows. Things are looking pretty good in all of our schools, but you will see on tonight's agenda, we have a number of appointments, which are great. As well as a number of leaves. And so as with any organization that has as many staff members as the district has, say it's pretty typical this month, as we've seen in the past. We also discussed a number of things that all the committees discussed this month, but including the presentation, we got a preview ahead of tonight's formal presentation. So we discussed that a little bit. And then we also learned about a new initiative from Dr. Disler, a Shop with a Cop, which is a program sponsored by the Hamilton Township Police Department. And they will be working with the district to select 50 students in grades K through 8 to go for a holiday shopping spree at BJ's. So it's a wonderful new initiative, and we're extremely grateful. And that is all I have tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Soto. Do we have any questions in regards to Personnel Committee report? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to move on to Dr. Farag for curriculum and instruction.
Good evening. We had a short agenda, but we spent a long time in committee for sure. We met on November 12th. Ms. Stanton and I were present. Mr. Scotto went over professional development opportunities that the teachers and staff participated in on election day. Some of them were required, some of them were voluntary. He reviewed the presentation with us, and we did have a very spirited discussion about, what we learned, what we needed to, not what we needed to learn, but how we needed to report out the information. So, and I really appreciate your patience because we really were there for a while. We also spent time reviewing policies. There are 2 policies up for first readings tonight, and 1 policy, 2230, that addresses curriculum guides, which is up for a second reading. But I'm going to spend most of my time reporting out on the request that Ms. Harvey made to review policy 2431, which covers athletic competition in the district and addresses eligibility. And she specifically asked the committee to review the section on athletic participation for homeschooled children. So board members should know that, first of all, that policy 9270, titled Homeschooling and Equivalent Education, dovetails into the policy 2431. So policy 9270, Homeschooling and Equivalent Education, reads in part, homeschooling is an option, and when chosen, this option will be carried out in the pupil's home rather than the school. When children are homeschooled and are not enrolled in a school, the school district is not required to provide any of the entitlements or privileges of pupils enrolled in the school district unless an entitlement or privilege is specifically provided in board policy or required by federal law or state statute or administrative code. A child educated at home school shall not receive a state-endorsed high school diploma from the Board of Education. So then we looked at 2431, which is the athletic competition policy. And most people, many homeschoolers say, well, the board can make it okay for our kids to participate. And yes, that's true, but they don't read any further than that. And there are a lot of requirements if a board chooses to do that. So first of all, 2431, homeschooled children are not eligible to participate in the high school interscholastic athletic program of this district. Homeschooled children in grades 6 through 8 are not eligible to participate in school district sponsored programs of athletic competition of this district. And the 6 through 8 rule comes directly from NJSIAA. So then you get to, NJSIAA does say that students being homeschooled by parents or other parties may be eligible if the Board of Education has approved their participation and the requirements of the homeschool guidelines have been satisfied. And that's the key piece right there. So if you go into NJSIAA guidelines, policies, and procedures, here are some of the things that have to happen. A homeschooled student may participate in interscholastic athletics if the local Board of Education, in its discretion, approves of the participation of homeschooled students on the high school teams. The homeschooled student must reside in the school district that serves the high school and must meet residency criteria. The parents of the homeschooled students must submit a written request to the principal of the member school to try out for an athletic team in interscholastic athletics. So it's not a matter of a homeschool family says, I want my child to participate, and they're automatically on a team. The homeschooled student must comply with the same physical examination, insurance, age, academic, and other requirements for participation as required of all students at the high school. Homeschooled students must meet all eligibility requirements established by NJSIAA, including but not limited to rules relating to amateur status, age, recruitment, academic credits, semesters of eligibility, and transfers. The parents of homeschooled student must meet with local school officials to demonstrate that the student is receiving an academically equivalent education. The parents of the homeschooled student must submit evidence satisfactory to the principal that the homeschooled student has met the requirements of the academic credit rule and the requirements of school's own academic policy. The rights, privileges, and responsibilities associated with all other student athletes attending NJSIAA member schools will apply to homeschooled students who have satisfied the requirements above. Now, here's the academic credit rule. To be eligible for athletic competition during the first semester, which is September 1st to January 31st, a pupil must have passed 25% of the credits, that's 30, required by the state of New Jersey for graduation, 120, during the immediately preceding academic year. To be eligible for athletic competition during the second semester, which is February 1st to June 30th, a pupil must have passed the equivalent of 121 or 2% of the credits required by New Jersey for graduation. Full year courses shall be equated as 1/2 of the total credits to be gained in the full year to determine credits passed during the immediately preceding semester. We looked at all of this, and after reviewing the policies and the guidelines from NJSIAA, the committee decided not to bring this policy forward for any change. The biggest reasons were these. One, the district works hard each year to accommodate the student athletes who are already enrolled in the district. The addition of homeschooled students would create an administrative burden in trying to ensure homeschooled students were eligible to play under the rules outlined by NJSIAA, most specifically those academic rules, because New Jersey is one of 12 states in the country where the only requirement that homeschoolers have to make is that they provide an equal education. There is no definition of what equal education is. So, for example, homeschool students don't even have to follow the state curriculum. There's no requirement to do that. So, having done this myself, having been a teacher, I did follow the curriculum guides. I was in situations where parents would openly say, oh yeah, we have maps, but we don't recognize Israel, so Israel's not on our map. Or parents who said, oh yeah, we have Palestine on our map, but we don't have Israel on our map. So, trying to figure out who's doing what in homeschooling and how it may or may not be equivalent to what happens in public education, it will be a huge administrative burden. Most importantly, we felt it would not be fair to students who attend school every day to potentially lose an opportunity to play sports. There were also concerns about the potential need for adjudication when different points of view collide. We also noted that there were other athletic opportunities in charter schools, other private schools with smaller enrollments, and the New Jersey Homeschool Sports Association. The policies up tonight for first read are 3351 and 4451. They have come out of the HR department, courtesy of Dr. Copeland. 3351 applies to the teaching staff, 4452 applies to the support staff. The opening paragraph of the policies outline the goal of the policy. The Board of Education recognizes a healthy workplace environment, enables school district administrative and teaching staff members to fully contribute their expertise and skills to their school district responsibilities. A healthy workplace environment can improve productivity, reduce absenteeism, and reduce staff turnover while having a positive impact on the school district's programs provided to schools in the to students in the district. So essentially, these two policies outline the expectations the district has for staff members to work with one another and be supportive of one another and appropriate with one another. Also on the agenda tonight, there are several field trip requests. The Steinert AP Economics class is going to the Newtown Athletic Club. The founder and owner of the club, Jim Worthington, is a former phys ed teacher. He's going to speak with the students about how he started and grew this business. They will get a tour of the facilities. 20 students and 4 chaperones from HEP are requesting approval for a field trip to the Adventure Aquarium in Camden. The trip aligns with curriculum standards, and students will be learning about ecosystems and organisms. And the last request comes from Morgan Elementary School and involves a field trip for students in Morgan's autism program to experience community-based learning at Morrisville Lanes. And the bowling will help students work on their gross motor controls. And I want to close my report with saying there are several grant submissions and gift donations up for approval, but the committee would especially like to thank the members of Pearson Memorial United Methodist Church for clearing the lunch debt of 2 of the students in the district. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dr. Farr. Do I have any questions in regards to Dr. Farr's curriculum and instruction report? Ms. Harvey?
I just didn't understand your sentence. If you could just explain, in giving your report as to the homeschooling policy, you stated there was a concern over adjudication when different points of view apply. I didn't understand what you meant by that.
Well, it can take many forms. So let's use an example. A homeschool student is allowed to try out for a football team. And we have a homeschool student and a public school student, both equally qualified to play quarterback. And our ADs go with a public school student. And then what kind of adjudication might happen if a parent complains, well, but I think my student was the better quarterback, the homeschooling parent, okay? How do we handle those situations? There's nothing in policy, not in NJISAA policy, not in our policy.
Couldn't that same problem arise with 2 public school students?
That's different, in my opinion. Okay, it's not an outside student. The other piece of this is that homeschool students are unknown students to the teachers, the ADs. I can envision where a homeschool parent might say, well, you're giving favor to the public school student, which they go to school here every day. Everybody knows who they are. They know how they behave. The piece about what is equal education, that could be a problem. If the district says, we don't think that you're giving your child the equal education that NJSIAA expects or wants us to look at, how do we square that? It opens I think a Pandora's box. And then once you go down this route, then what prevents people from saying, well, I would like my child to try out for a play? I mean, we have 12,300 kids. We don't have enough extracurricular activities for the kids who come here every day, do what we ask, follow the rules, go to classes, learn the curriculum that the state expects them to learn. as a homeschooling parent, I encountered many kids who were homeschooled because their parents did not want them classified. And that was a problem. It was a problem in our homeschooling communities. So I personally think it's a Pandora's box. They're kids that aren't seen every day. Nobody knows them. It's problematic for me. And I think given what NJSIAA expects from the district, it's a burden on the district administratively. I don't know. What do you think, Dr. Rocco?
Well, I would say that I support everything that you've said here, but I would also like to say that this has been brought to the high school staff, all three high school staff at leadership team. They are not in support of this. Students who are not attending our school every day, we have no authority over those students. We have no academic control over those students. We can't tell if they went to school that day or didn't go to school that day. So students who we don't see on a daily basis, we don't know if they are abiding by the NJSIAA rules, and who is going to police that. And if there is an issue associated with a student, a discipline issue, or a student's infraction while they're playing a sport, we have no control other than to suspend them from a team. But we have no other control over a student for their actions or their behaviors. If there is something that has to be done and the principal or the athletic director or the coach has to prove that the child who is not our student is attending their homeschool, is doing their work, that's an undue burden on the administration or the AD or the coaches. So from those perspectives, they have recommended that I recommend to you no change in the policy.
Dr. Rocco. Ms. Harvey, any other questions?
I just want to thank the committees for reviewing it. This came up because a member of the public did have a question about they came actually from a few different people who wanted to expand the hockey program. And I am happy that there was such a thorough review by both the board and the administration. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harvey. Any other questions in regards to Curriculum Instruction Committee report? Okay, seeing none. Oh, yes.
I do have a DCR report that
I wasn't going to forget you. So before I go to Mr. Kanka, I'm going to come over to you for DCR committee report.
Thank you. So I do have a report from Cassandra Hodges-Jones, our chair for DCR. We had our last DCR meeting, our previous DCR meeting was held virtually on November 18th. Unfortunately, I had a last minute work appointment that I had to miss this for, which I was really sad because we had our host for tonight, Principal Walker, and Detective Webb, who presented the initiative regarding their restorative practices, their restorative discipline program in the RISE room that we discussed a bit more at our last public board meeting. So we heard that there was very positive feedback and there are a lot of great questions. So I can't wait to learn more. Hopefully I can talk with you at some point soon. And we're looking forward to see and hear if the initiative will expand to other districts other schools within the district. DCR would also like to see if they can set up an open forum or town hall type meeting for the March in-person meeting. So if you have any questions or thoughts of how that could be run or ideas, obviously reach out to DCR. And the questions would be submitted in advance to ensure that the correct personnel would be available to answer those questions. The next meeting will be held on Tuesday, December 9th from 5 to 6 in the Media Center at Crockett. So that's the library at Crockett. On December 9th.
December 9th.
December 9, 5 to 6, Media Center at Crockett. The Google Calendar invite will be shared. If there's inclement weather, we will change the meeting to be virtual instead. And if that happens, the Google Calendar invite will be updated as well with the virtual link, and it will be on the webpage. If you have a specific topic that you would like a representative to present on, because there's actually been a pushing DCR. We're trying something new where we have kind of a topic at hand where we have someone come present on or has a bit of more information that we can kind of go a little more deep on. If you have some kind of topic or interest that you would like to be presented to DCR on the whole, please email dcr@htsdnj.org and we'll see what we can do. We're also looking for volunteers who are looking to participate or present or join committees. And if you're interested, please just email dcr@htsdnj.org as well. You can find all the information we have on the website, which is at our district's main website. You click on menu, then community, then district community relations committee. Join us as we partner together, building minds, building futures for our HCSD community to make a difference. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. McSheen. And Dr. Farrar, do you have a question?
I just need to dovetail into Dr. McSheen's report because Mr. Walker's here and I promised him I would correct this. There was a concern at the last meeting when Mrs. Harvey mentioned that there was a television monitor in the Rise room. And indeed, there is a monitor on the wall. It is used to run either affirmations, positive messages for the kids who sit in there, or sometimes they use it to watch Khan Academy lessons to relearn something. So there apparently were people who left the meeting concerned that children were watching television shows in the Rise room, and that's just not the case, correct?
Thank you for that clarification, Dr.
You owe me a coffee at Gladiator next week. No.
Thank you. Do I have any questions in regards to DCR committee report? Seeing none, Mr. Kanka, would you like to take us through finance and operation report?
Sure. We met on the 12th of this month. I would like to thank the committee members who attended, Mrs. Thornton, Mrs. Harvey, and senior staff who was in attendance. Dr. Rocco went through his communications summary, which we heard tonight. Then we moved into, we had a brief discussion on the presentation that took place tonight on data presentation from Ms. Aldino, Mr. Scotto, which everybody got a full glimpse of that tonight. Then we moved into an update on our door sensor installation from a report from Mr. O'Boyle. And the project is moving along. It's hit a slow spot right now, but we expect this to be completed. The original completion date was December. It's been pushed back to February. But we don't want any and we don't want anybody to take any shortcuts here, so we want to make sure we're as comprehensive as possible. So the couple months delay is not too concerning at this point. There was a facilities update from Mr. Miranda on the new facility online scheduler, which training was provided to the school secretaries on the new schedule and the importance of the school. It's important for the school to load their events in there before it's opened up to outside users. The goal is to go live to the public sometime in either December or January. Then we had new project emergencies that came up. The elevator or lift, whatever you want to call it, at West is in disrepair, and it's an item that has to be addressed as soon as possible to get this problem, this situation corrected. And we talked about phase 2 on the pools, the final drawings, and the revised proposal from Spiesel on the phase 2 pool drawings will be added on tonight's agenda. There was the original approval was for a cost not to exceed 6.75% of the final phase 2 cost. That has been revived in this motion to lower that to 3.5% of the final estimated cost. Then we had a discussion on the ongoing high school renovation, auditorium renovation at North. The completion date still remains at December 23rd. And as reports have come out, the place is really looking great with all the new amenities that are being put in place. There was, which I neglected to report at our committee chair meeting last night, wasn't sure, but the committee did discuss agreed to move the Steiner Auditorium as the next project to be started next year. In the summer of 2026 projects, the committee reviewed and discussed major capital projects pending for the summer. The Layler project will move into phase 2, and I believe we had I guess a report from PSE&G that our transformer is in, but being in and us actually having it is two different entities. So we're hoping that we can get that transformer prior to this project continuing on in this summer of 26. Then there was the phase 2 pool project, which we discussed briefly, and the upcoming second auditorium project. Other projects included for completion are the sewer pipe relining at Cooser and the completion of sewer pipe relining at Klockner. There was the discussion on the HEP roof, and I believe that we are probably going to move into getting that thing addressed as soon as possible, since there has been some severe leakage over there. We had a discussion on the bird issue that has been addressed, and the soffits have been closed up. So that is a problem that hopefully has gone away. But the roof is another issue. And as far as what's going on under the roof, we're not sure until the existing roof is taken off and there's an inspection done of the substructure on what has to be done as far as soffits, overhangs, the structure under I'm assuming there's plywood up there under that roof. So we won't know at the extent of the damage from the roof leakage until that's all taken place. So that's hopefully is going to be something that's upcoming soon. Then we had a report on our annual audit update. Ms. Atwood reported that the audit work is almost completed, and the auditor is hopefully going to come in and discuss his work at the December committee meeting. And as everybody knows, last year we were, I guess that whole process fell behind because of state. We were waiting for numbers from the state, and they just fell behind on everything. So we're pretty excited that we're ahead of schedule a little bit this year to get that all taken care of and addressed and presented to the public. Then there was the transportation bus tracking for parents. That program has not been made available yet. We're awaiting a vendor to schedule and provide the necessary training to our transportation staff. And we had the all committees agenda, a couple of items from the Greenwood Elementary School, and the athletic competition policy that Dr. Ferrara talked about tonight, and as we spoke last night in our committee chair meeting, I was really excited about the Shop with a Cop from Dr. Disler, and I'm really excited. When I saw that, I was really excited when I saw that, and as the committee chairs spoke and discussed this, we were hoping that that this is just the beginning of a program that can be expanded throughout the district with the help of some of our law enforcement communities, maybe the police and fire, maybe getting other entities involved, and hopefully expand this out to grow even larger next year. Dr. Rocco presented us with his CUSAC results, and Mrs. Harvey with her book committee report. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 10th, 8:30 a.m. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kanka. Do I have any questions in regards to Finance and Operation Committee report? Dr. Farrar?
Mr. Kanka, I meant to ask you this last night. When you say PSE&G needs to deliver the transformer, do you mean like deliver and put it up on something? I mean, do
Yeah, it's gotta be put-
they install it,
There's a
right?
pad that's got to be set on, and then they install it and then tie it in.
Okay.
But they have it, apparently they have it, but we don't have it. So I'll believe it when we actually see it on the pad.
You
So
know, maybe
that's it.
the other thing is maybe next year we should have bake with a board member. We could do cookies. We'll take you. I mean, since you're the cook on Thanksgiving, we'll let you lead.
You
You just do turkey, not cookies?
No, it's actually, it's not the cookies, it's the pumpkin pie. That's, I'm famous for, so. But
It's actually good to know. I was gonna say, thank you, Ms. Williams. Great suggestion.
Thank you. Can you bring one next board meeting? We would love to try that.
yes, with red and green, it'll be next month, it'll have to be with red and green trimmings.
That's fine.
Do we have any other questions in regards to finance? Yes, Ms. Stanton.
Just a comment. I had looked up after Dr. Ditzler had told us about the shop with the cop. I looked it up and departments all over the country do it. So I'm sure that we could involve more local ones. And I think it's fantastic because this is going to give Christmas to some kids that might not otherwise be able to have it.
I agree. This is a phenomenal program. I'm surprised that somebody didn't bring it, forward sooner, but hey, we got to start somewhere.
I was just gonna say that we have to start somewhere and we're very appreciative to partner with them. So again.
And I want
have
to thank
agree with
Dr.
you. Thank
Disler
you very much for that.
for her initiative in this too. We really appreciate it. And I'm sure the families do too.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, so I am gonna move on to Ms. Harvey for the Book Challenge Committee.
Thank you. The Book Challenge Committee has been reformulated because we lost a member. So there was some delay in reformulating that committee. However, we've now met multiple times and the goal is to issue a report in December. We have 4 books that are remaining. There was a change in the law, if anyone is aware, that goes into effect on December 8th. However, because all of the complaints that were filed that are before the committee were filed before that December 8th date, we are applying the policy that is still in effect, and we will be issuing a report consistent with that policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hari. Any questions in regards to, I see Dr. McSheen, you have your hand up.
Do you happen to have the list of books that are going to be reviewed? Or are
All Boys Aren't Blue, Beyond Magenta, The Quick and Easy Guide to Queer and Trans Identities, and This Book is Gay.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, then we're going to move on to monthly suspension report. Any questions from board members?
I just have a comment since the suspensions are down significantly, and I mean just a little bit significant. There's a couple pockets of stuff, but it was great to read that report, and I know you're going to the HIB report, and those are down. So people are doing right things because we're seeing progress. It was great. They were great to read.
Thank you, Dr. Farrar, for highlighting that. I think that's a very important aspect of the 2 reports, so thank you. So no questions on monthly suspension report, monthly HIB report, monthly health report. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to hearing of the public on agenda items. Just bear with me. I just need to get the sign up. And no one has signed up for the first hearing of the public on agenda items. So I'm going to move into our agenda items for this evening. Curriculum and instruction. Dr. Farrar, will you take us through curriculum and instruction?
I'm going to let Ms. Stanton do it. I'm going to take a break.
Sure. Upon the recommendation of the superintendent, that the Board of Education approves, moves items 1 through 7.
See, she needs practice.
I do need practice. I was looking at the wrong one. I was about to say 1 through 12, so wrong committee. 1 through 7.
Second.
So I will start with Mr. Kanka. Any questions in regards to curriculum and instruction agenda items?
None.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Ms. Harvey? Thank you. Ms. Stanton?
No, thank you.
Dr. Ferrara?
No, thank you.
Ms. Soto?
No, thank you.
Dr. McSheen?
I've got to break the streak. I'm sorry. So for the 2 policies for first readings, item number 3, it's policy 3351 and 4351.
4. Was it 4?
Oh, yeah, so 3351, 4351, yep.
Yeah, you.
As I'm reading them here, they say 3351 and
Yeah.
4351.
Yep.
All right. There's 2 separate ones. One, I understand one's for teaching staff and one is for support staff. So I do have a couple questions. Is there a substantive difference between both? I was trying to do side by side, but I couldn't really find.
You know, this, and maybe Mr. Carrick can address this. We often have policies that are side by side. One addresses teachers, one addresses staff, and they are pretty much similar except little tweaks. Is there a reason for that?
So in your general policy chapters or subchapters, like 1,000 applies to bylaws, 2,000 applies to administration, and so on. There's a subsection that specifically applies to support staff members, and then a separate section that applies to teachers. And so typically you are going to have 2 policies because they are different categories of employees, certificated versus non-certificated. And at times boards of education will adopt different criteria as it relates between the 2, because you might decide that professional staff have a certain set of expectations and support staff have a different set of expectations. So they might be exactly the same, and that's fine, but you might also from time to time find reasons to adopt different policies as it relates to the different levels of staff.
And just to follow up on that, I was looking quickly and had read them both, but didn't compare them side to side. I do not believe there is any substantial change. I'm looking at Dr. Copeland here, who he is also indicating no substantial change.
Great. Yeah, I didn't think so, but I just wanted to make sure about that. One difference I do see, it's not very important, but I kind of like parallelism here if possible. 3351 specifically says teaching staff members in the title of the policy, but the 4351 does not designate support staff. I'm wondering if I would prefer it if we had support staff in the title, just so that it's equal if that's possible.
The 400 area, it does say support staff up right below Board of Education on the right-hand side.
I see on there, yeah.
Yes, it does. You see under.
Yeah,
right,
it does. Okay.
the editor in you.
I know. I'd love it in the title just so it matches. Really gets me. All right. And then I think I had one other question. Okay. And maybe this is a little broader. So these policies specifically state employees. Do we have any policy that addresses outside vendors, volunteers, other groups that aren't like these policies both say employee or groups of employees as opposed to
Good question.
other
Like Robbins.
Robins, exactly,
Paraprofessional.
anyone else really, yeah.
So, and I will defer to Mr. Carrick, but I think support staff, if you're a volunteer, you'd be considered support staff. Contractor, though, I don't think so. I would have to say no. I'm looking again, Dr. Copeland, is there anything that comes to mind to you on that?
Overall, throughout your policies, you do have a lot of policies that speak to vendor relationships. These particular ones, I'm not aware of it applying, but our vendor relationships are established by contract. And so depending on what we contract is what they have to abide by. And from time to time, depending on what the vendor is providing to us, they will also be required to abide by all applicable district policies and procedures. So if we're substituting in an independent contractor for a support staff position or even a certificated staff position, I don't know if we do that here very much, but a lot of my other districts do. We will require that they abide by all policies and procedures applicable to that category of employee, even though they're not technically an employee.
Because I'm in my head, we talked about the, maybe coaches or Robins or other groups. But then I'm also thinking if we have a postal delivery person or PSE&G coming by, where do these policies potentially make sure that our employees or our volunteer support people, whoever, are interacting with them correctly? Because I feel like that's kind of an interesting spot where, we're not dictating the behavior necessarily of a postal worker, but there's still an obligation, I think, for the school to act professionally in all regards.
I think it's a valid concern and comment, but that would probably fall under professional standards or professional expectation. We would have to look at that policy a little deeper to see how that's spelled out.
Are you talking about how our people act towards them or how they act towards our people?
I feel like I'm more concerned with how our people act towards them because that's our responsibility.
So we have a general inappropriate conduct policy that applies to support staff members and one that also applies to professional staff members. And so that general policy speaks to if they act inappropriately, they can be subject to discipline.
Mrs. Thornton, if I could also add in Dr. McSheen's case, if a vendor felt that something was inappropriate, usually they reach out to the contact person, the programmatic person, and then we would put them through the appropriate channels. I can recall a time where a staff member, a vendor or a contractor needed to bring something to my attention. I worked in tandem with HR office.
Yeah, and I totally imagine that would be the case, and just wanted to make sure that covering all the bases, make sure everyone's kind of equally protected in the way that they should be. Yep, and that's it. That's all I have for that.
No
Thank you.
other questions?
Nope.
Seeing that we have no other questions for curriculum and instruction. That would.
Ms. Harvey?
Yes.
Mr. Kanka?
Yes.
Dr. McSheen?
Yes.
Ms. Soto?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Farrar?
Yes.
Ms. Thornton?
Yes.
Motion's pass.
Finance and operations. Mr. Kanka, can you take us through finance and operations?
On recommendation of the superintendent, I move motions 1 through 11.
Second.
Do we have any questions in regards to finance and operation? Dr. McSheen, I'll start with you.
No, thank you.
Ms. Soto?
No, thank you.
Dr. Farrar?
No, thanks.
Ms. Stanton?
No, thank you.
Ms. Harvey? No, thank you. Williams?
No, thank you.
Mr. Kanka?
Just have a comment.
Okay.
On I was reviewing some of the, I know there's just a couple items in here, but I just wanted to let the public know, and even the board, that I was looking at the balance sheet again for our food service. And we do have a negative balance, but fortunately, it's 16% less than it was this time last year. So, they, Ms. Aldino and Mr. Scotto, we're happy about their numbers. I'm happy about 16% here. So, hopefully we're moving in the right direction, and with the help of the staff and getting people signed up whenever they're eligible. That's it. No questions though.
Seeing that I have no other questions, Ms. Atwood. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Soto.
I'm sorry, just on that, along those lines, I did want to recognize that the church that did pay off the two balances at the one school. I'm grateful for that. I'm just wondering if there is an individual in the community who wanted to pay off the balance, a student's balance or a school's balance, how would they go about doing that?
They would contact Ms. Atwood's office.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Soto.
Wouldn't that be this same as if somebody had a balance on their account, you just go in there and just Venmo the money in or something like that, or use a debit card
To the account,
into the account?
they would have to have access to the account.
I think Ms., if I understand, it's more of a donation she's talking about. If this
Okay.
person or entity wants to donate their money, and it's happened in the past, and we work with the donator on
Okay,
how they want the money to be spread out, specific students or district-wide, et cetera.
okay.
So can I ask a question on that then? That just raises, you know how we have like donors choose?
Yeah.
You can't do that? Okay, I'm
you
just
can't-
trying to get
yeah.
creative here, okay? I'm just trying to figure out a
We
way.
thought about that.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
There's some restrictions.
Yeah.
with donors.
Okay.
But we could be more proactive in getting the word out. This is not the first time a church group has stepped up to help. I don't know if these students were in the church. I presume they are, because I don't know how else they would know, but it's not the first time it's happened. Churches have stepped up a couple of times to pay off student debt.
So can I ask a question? Dr. Rocco, is like, if we want to, if we can, it is the giving season, right? So if we were to ask the public, even family members, it doesn't have to be anybody in Hamilton Township, but if we were to say that, hey, there's kids, because it's the same thing as if there's a student in need of food now, right? I mean, so if there were a way that we could work together, on the sidelines to try to help that, would that be okay? Okay.
Mr. Kenka, is this something that, I don't know the charge of the Hamilton Education Foundation. Is this something maybe they could take on and donations be made to them and they make a large lump sum to the district?
Yeah, I could bring it up.
That'd be a great idea. They could probably have a separate account just designated for paying off lunch debt.
And I will presume Ms. Williams would love to assist me with helping
Of
them
course,
in that
yeah,
area.
yeah.
So you can volunteer us.
Great ideas.
I-
Ms. Atwood?
I was
Roll
just,
call?
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dr.
I just want to jump in that real quick. Just, no, it's okay. And stepping out of my field here. So, but it's kind of a legal question or alert, just so the board is aware. And I'm not aware, so please, and we have lawyers here or whatever, but I just want to make sure that we understand what if anyone's covering the cost of someone, whether it can be understood as a true donation or if it's a gift of some sort. Like, I just want to make sure that we're not getting anyone in legal trouble because then someone's getting donated a couple $1,000s or whatever that they may or may not like. I just want to make sure the board is aware that there are sometimes questions around this that need to be explored.
So the IRS sets individual gift limits, and they're like I think around $18,000. So that's really not an issue. It's more along the issue, like if someone was to say to you guys, hey, I'd like to donate some money to cover student debt. Can you give me the names of some students that owe student debt? No, we can't because they're FERPA protected. Could they say, all right, I'd like to make a generalized donation? Sure, we do take donations all the time for those reasons. And so, if a person comes to us and says, I'd like to pay off the debt of someone, and they give us the identity of that person, then we can go and say, okay, we'll apply it to their specific debt. And that might not be, that really probably wouldn't be considered a donation. That would be just like me giving money to a friend of mine and saying, we're going to pay off their debt with that money. So there's a big difference between a donation and then a gift to someone or a gift on behalf of someone. But the gift limits are so high that I don't think it's likely covering an individual. Our number is high because of the aggregate, not because of individual particular students. Awesome.
However, if we were to involve the Hamilton Education Foundation, then it would be considered a tax-deductible donation. Foundation could acknowledge them, and then, let's hope somebody gives us over $18,000. But any amount could be applied. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Ms. Atwood, roll call.
Ms. Harvey?
Like to abstain from motion number 9, page 37 to 38, purchase order 26041333, and yes to the rest.
Mr. Kanka?
Yes.
Dr. McSheen?
Yes.
Ms. Soto?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Dr. Farrar?
Yes.
Ms. Thornton?
Yes.
Motion's passed.
Ms. Soto, can you take us through personnel agenda items?
On recommendation of the superintendent, I move items 1 through 15.
Second.
Mr. Kanka, any questions in regards to personnel items?
No.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Ms. Harvey?
No.
Stanton?
No, thank you.
Dr. Farrar?
I just want to ask Mr. Carrick one more time. If I have 5 votes, no votes on somebody who wants to resign or retire, not going to make any difference,
No.
is it?
You can't keep them here.
I tried.
Ms. Soto?
No, thank you.
Dr. McSheen?
No.
So I would like to, at this time, recognize some of our retirements this evening. I do have 4. I'm going to start with a music teacher at Hamilton High School West, 11.5 years in Hamilton, James Fillmore. Educational assistant, Klockner Elementary School, 11 years in Hamilton, Joy Hoshek. English teacher at Grice Middle School, 19 years in Hamilton, Lauren Redenberg. And at this time, I'm very difficult to announce this one. There are certain people that come along that really make a true impact because of their dedication and just who they are. So school business administrator and board secretary, 11.5 years, Catherine Atwood.
And I'm not done yet for quite some pie, so you're gonna see me.
Not retiring.
Hear that?
She with-
The end of
She
June.
withdrew.
I take it off the agenda? Can I be?
I just have a question though. She'll be here through the end of June, so thank you very much. Very kind.
But if Katie does decide to change her mind, could she still even after?
She can, yeah.
I just want to make sure that this is,
Not.
this is just a practice run.
But I want to wish everyone all the best on their retirement and thank you all so much for all of your dedication. Ms. Atwood,
There goes my.
roll call.
Ms. Harvey?
While I'd like to vote no on 2 of them, I vote yes.
Mr. Kanka?
There goes my minutes, right? Yes.
Dr. McSheen?
Yeah. Yes.
Ms. Soto?
Yes.
Ms. Stanton?
Unfortunately, yes.
Ms. Williams?
Only because you want to, yes.
Dr. Farrar?
Very reluctantly, yes, but no on retirement one and no on resignation one, but I'll say yes.
Okay, I'll check with you on that vote if you really want that on the record. Ms. Thornton?
So I am going to echo my fellow board members with my reluctance to say yes to all of them, but I will say yes.
Motion's passed. Oh, look at that big smile.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to move on to hearing of the public on school-related matters. And I don't believe I have, I have two signed up. Okay. So, hold on one moment.
Maybe one person in the audience.
Okay. So first I have Mr. John Muka. I do believe he is not here. And I will move to Janet Flonick.
Okay. Attended my class reunion last month, and I was thanking one of my classmates who happened to be a former Hamilton principal for all the work she did in mailing in the forms and collecting the money and all. And she brought up about the mailman in Princeton where she lives, that she had informed her mailman that she was going to be getting a lot of letters, and they're all in cursive, getting them back. And he said, no sweat, I can read cursive. However, my substitute can't. And he has delivered mail to the wrong places, which proves the point I made months ago about having problems getting mailmen because they can't read cursive writing. And half the country is teaching it now. And I had only asked for the 20 minutes a week cursive sentence, print what it means. And if we don't teach our kids how to read cursive, we're going to run out of mailmen. Okay. I also had to read my yearbook to refresh my memory about my former classmates, and that was total cursive. The teachers and the students all wrote in cursive, and I thought, well, gee, so when some of my classmates go to the great beyond and their grandkids find their yearbook, gee, what did they write about grandmom or grandpa? And they wouldn't be able to read it. They might find out some real dirt on their grandparents, but they can't read it. Okay, so that's another reason we should learn how to read cursive. I had 4 friends who wrote, never forget the fun we had at a lunch. There was about 8 of us who always ate lunch together. We'd laugh, talk about class, the sporting events, the TV shows. We had a grand time. Now here in Hamilton, we let our kids use their cell phones during lunch. And that's the only time you can really talk to your friends and make new ones. And with the block scheduling and everything, you think they might want to vent or discuss things more. So I think that's a bad idea, that they should be able to just talk to their friends and get rid of the cell phones. There's 2 local schools that have banned the cell phones. One, soon as you walk in the door, they put it in a pouch that's locked up. They can't open it till they go to leave when they take it back out. They said the behavior has improved, the kids are more social, and they're even more attentive in class. We need to get rid of the cell phones so our kids know how to socially get along with each other, which is a great problem in this country at the moment. Even when you go to a restaurant, husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend sitting there on their cell phones. Really? I mean, or you see families all on the cell phones. Maybe somebody should start a movement that cell phones should be banned in restaurants if you have 2 or more people. I mean, that's where you get to know each other and so forth. And we have to get our kids off of them too. So if we got rid of the cell phones in the high school where they would have to talk to each other at lunchtime, no cell phones, maybe after 3 years of not using phones when eating and they graduate and they go out into the world, they would be so in tune of not using cell phones when you eat. And maybe we would start seeing a trend of people just talking instead of using the cell phone all the time. So I really think we should get rid of those cell phones and let them learn how to get along with each other. Plus, socially would end up a lot, even with the grownups. You hear about fights and everything. We need to learn how to socialize, and we can start in the high school now. And then on social talking then, I'd like to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. May you socialize with your family and friends with no cell phones. Enjoy your turkey and pumpkin pie, and don't weigh yourself for at least 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Klonick. Seeing that I do not have anyone else signed up for hearing of the public, that moves us to other business. I do have something under other business that I wanted to bring up if I could. So everyone can take a look at their schedules and have some time to prepare. We have our reorg meeting in January. So I would just like to see if everyone could take a look at their calendars. And Dr. Rocco, if you could propose a date, because it does have to be done in a certain time frame. So I want to make sure that we can get that on the schedule. I have reached out to our newly elected board member, Mr. Scales, to work on that date as well. So do you have a date that you?
I do. The 5th of January.
Which I believe is a Monday.
It is a Monday.
Yeah, that works.
That work?
Oh,
No?
I have 5 that night, so I'll just have to figure it out.
What times are yours?
They're all starting 6 or 6:30 or 7 p.m.
Started at 5 for the reorg. I know that, I don't
But
know
I-
if that works for everybody.
I do want to be conscious of Mr. Scales. I do know with his work
yeah.
schedule, I don't know if 5 o'clock would
Work
work
for
for him. I do know that the 5th is a day that works for him, but I want to make sure. But do we do the 6th then? Do we
Go
do
ahead.
Tuesday
You
the
don't need
6th?
me. You don't need,
Tuesday the 6th then?
you don't really need me.
No.
Okay. So is everyone comfortable? Does everyone kind of just want to take a look at the 5th? If it works, we can reconvene in December to finalize that, but I just wanted everyone to kind of have some time to take a look.
Post time?
I would propose later, like 6 or 6:30. Again, I want to be conscious of Mr. Scales, who's not here to be able to give his input. So if we can reach out to him and maybe we work on January 5th and then time to be determined.
Yep.
Does that work for everyone?
Does that work for you, Ms. Atwood? Oh, wait, you're not gonna be here.
Oh, no, I'll be here.
She will.
He's still here.
She is.
Oh, no, she'll be right here.
Oh,
Yay!
no, she's here until
She's here.
July.
You're on
Oh, she's here for the rest of the year.
I know. Yeah, that's the data.
I will be here.
Yeah, to practice
So does
for,
6 work for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we just plan for 6 for now?
Yeah, I'm thinking 6 or 6:30. I think the later of the
Yeah.
time would be more appropriate.
I put it in.
For you too, Dr. Machine?
I'm putting it
Yeah.
for January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're putting in January 5th tentatively, time to be determined.
yeah, look at your schedules, let us know.
That work? And again, just wanted to get something on the calendar so everyone can kind of prepare ahead of time.
It's good for me. I just need to know what day, what time.
Okay. Do I have anything else for other business?
How about a motion to adjourn?
Seeing that there's no other, for other business?
Second.
Second, I wish everyone a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. I hope that you all enjoy your time with your families and friends. And if you are out and about and you want to go see Mr. Kanka at the West Steiner game, Thursday, 10:30. But happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. She's already.
Oh,
Clocked out.
Katie.
I got the.